Hey y'all, it's Diana from the Dianaverse, and I'm here today to do the new moon in Aries forecast. It's our second new moon in Aries for this spring. We'll talk about that a little more, but first let me remind you to like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos so you get the notification in YouTube when they come out, and feel free to share them with your Astro friends as well. A couple things I have going on that are coming up. Because I do astrology, but I also do herbalism and other things. I have a seaweed workshop that's coming up at the beginning of June. If you're in the Washington state area and you would like to learn about seaweed, I've got a link below where you can check out the details on that, which it will be also at a new moon. And look forward to seeing you if you can make it to that. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll be on the beach looking at what you can forage from the seashore and tasting some things, and lots of fun. I'll also have a natural dye plant coming up, and that is going to be later in the month of May. I'm going out of town. I'm going back to Scotland again. I'll be celebrating Beltane there, which will be tons of fun. That'll be at the full moon in a couple of weeks. And I just want to let you know that these things are coming up. So I will be out of town. I don't know if I'll be able to get the full moon forecast posted, depending on my internet availability. Hopefully, yes. But just to give you a heads up in case you don't see me here. So our second Aries new moon. Happy birthday to all the Aries that are still celebrating. And it is rare that we have the moon in the same sign. It usually falls in between, and it will be one sign per month or per moon lunation. But sometimes, like this spring, where it falls right at the very beginning of Aries when it was in the last new moon, now it's in the very last degrees of Aries, and so it actually falls again in the same sign. So the things that we initiated the last new moon, you want to take a look at those and what you felt like you got accomplished by the full moon that we just had 2 weeks ago. And then now we get another chance to update our plan. So it's like the universe is giving us a little more time to go forward on the things that we're planning. This is kind of a dramatic new moon because we have a solar eclipse. That's when, trying to think now if I'm saying that right, because when you're in the heat of the moment talking, sometimes you say it the wrong way. But the moon will be blocking the sun. It's that kind of eclipse. Maybe that's a lunar eclipse. Darn it, I hate when I doubt myself in the middle of a forecast. But it means that the moon and the sun are together. They're in the same place in the sky. Now when there's eclipse, it's going to be blocking the light from the sun. And they say when you block the light from the sun, because the sun is the biggest planet in our solar system, it has the biggest dramatic effect on us. That's why you see so many people practicing sun sign astrology, because that sun is a pretty dramatic point in your chart. But the sun is going to be blocked out. And so it gives room for other planets and constellations and stars and objects out in space to get their light to us. The effect is a little more subtle. You know, with the sun, it's very dramatic. It's the biggest thing in our solar system, and we really notice that the moon is reflecting the sun's light. We really notice the moon. It's very close to us. But when you start looking at letting the light filter in from the other planets, it can be a little more subtle. There's a lot of emphasis on the Aries right now because you've got the sun and the moon. You've also got Jupiter there, which is combust with the sun. So it's kind of boosting and supporting the sun, but it kind of burns up the energy of Jupiter. So it's like a push-pull. We've had a lot of that these last several months, where the things that we want to be bigger maybe aren't the things that are being seen, and it's going to take a little more time, because when Jupiter actually makes it to being cazimi, which is where it's exactly with the sun, it's going to be a better time for like augmenting those Jupiter ideas than it is this week, where it's kind of being burned up, like the edges of it are being frazzled a bit by that sun. Also, we have Chiron in Aries. So Chiron is the wounded healer. It's things that we go through in order to heal, and that doesn't always feel good at first. And that's also having pressure put on it. This particular moon, because it is so late in Aries, so late in the month, actually about half an hour after the full moon, which the full moon, by the way, is just after 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or Pacific Daylight Time, sorry, because we're in Daylight Savings Time. So it's actually technically at 9:14 p.m. is when it's happening. Well, half an hour after that, or even might be like 20 some minutes, Sun and the Moon are going to move forward into Taurus. So it's a bit of a hybrid new moon. And it's dramatic because we've got a lot of energy with that Aries fire, and there's a trine to Leo at the midheaven with that. So there's a lot of energy and a desire for self-expression, a desire to do what we want. Well, you know, with great ambition and great control over ourselves also comes a lot of responsibility. So it's fun, and yet, you know, you're looking at the things that you're going to have to do to make things happen. This is one of the last eclipses that's going to be happening with the Aries and Taurus thing going on. We'll be moving forward into more Aries, and the Taurus will be fading away. But we're still kind of under that influence of our values. Mercury is in Taurus, and it's going to be going retrograde. It's stationing right about the same time and getting ready to go retrograde. We all know that Mercury retrograde thing where communications go awry, and being in Taurus, I can especially be about things with the body, communicating how you feel, maybe if you're undergoing some medical things, or it can be your values as far as like your finances and stuff. So you may have to slow down, even though that Aries is like, I gotta hurry up and get it done. The Taurus is like, well, let's slow down and back up and go over that and make sure I've got all the things right with that. The other dramatic thing that's happening with this particular lunation is that it will very quickly after the eclipse and the new moon it's going to square Pluto. Yes, that can be dramatic. Pluto takes things away. It's also associated with finances because it's the riches under the earth. It's about changing things in that. Pluto is working with the South Node. So we've been doing a lot of letting go over the last couple of years, right? This is like, you got to let go of that baggage if you want to move forward. That Aries is trying to take you forward into the new paradigm, the new cycles. Pluto's saying, yeah, but you're going to have to let go of whoever, whatever, wherever. And you might not want to. You might be holding on to some things. You like the comfort of whatever that is that you've got to let go of. So it may not feel good in the moment, but when you look back, you may say, that's when I let go of blah, 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 and I move forward with such and such. So try to stay with it. Try to surrender to the process. There's a real balancing act going on between your own empowerment and letting things flow. There's a lot of stuff going on with the water signs, so that Scorpio is a watery sign. That's Pluto rose Scorpio. And then you've got, I have to put my glasses on for just a second. Where'd they go? So I can see the chart that I'm looking at here. I'm vain. I didn't want to wear my glasses for the... so we've got that Scorpio. Oh yeah, Mars, which is ruled by Aries, is in Cancer, which is the water sign. And then also you've got that Saturn in Pisces is very close to a trine. They're kind of applying, Saturn is applying to that trine. So it's like, yeah, but what about everybody? What about all our systems? What about what's good for all the things? Like, we have to be realistic about what's going to work. So the Aries in Cancer is a little more the individual, right? It could be some overwhelm or some self-protective stuff going on, because Mars is like, wants to take action, but with Cancer, it's about the self. It's all kind of encapsulated there. So there's Saturn and Mars are the malefics. And so if they're in a trine of water, it can be kind of swampy. There can be floods going on. There can be some dramatic things going on with the water. And Pluto is in Aquarius, which is an air sign, but there's a big component of how it works with the water, because it's the water bearer, right? You've got to have that moisture in order for the air to carry that electrical charge. So it could feel sort of short-circuiting on things that are watery, emotional things. Let's see, where is Virgo in this chart? Virgo. So that Mars is kind of opposite with Virgo. And normally I like to say, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling too much of the current transits, you look to the opposite side of the chart, and you can see an antidote in concentrating on those aspects. But with this particular thing with the eclipse and the Pluto square and a lot of these dramatic things going on, I would say that the Virgo side is kind of working at an opposite energy of what you're trying to do. So you can have a lot of like the mind turning in circular thoughts, like too much attention to detail, not seeing the big picture. So it's a lot to keep balanced out, and hope everybody's doing well with dealing with these aspects. It's going to be kind of a strong lunation. So got a roommate in the other room. It's just wondering what he was doing. Keep all this in balance. What I'm suggesting for the rock friends this month is to work with Tiger's Eye, something that can really help you ground and feel strong in your center, right? That Mars and Cancer can help you stay centered. You can look for where these things are happening in your chart. If you go to astro.com, you can get a free horoscope. You need to have your birth time in order to see what house they're going to fall in, and that house will also give you some idea of where these things are happening in your own personal chart. And for the plant friends, I'm going to suggest again the adaptogens, because there's a lot of stress with things going on. A lot of movement, a lot of energy moving, but also some stress. All right, I hope you all get through this lunation and work some stuff out. I've heard of people that I know like making big life decisions and moving on. And overall, these Pluto transits are meant to make things better in your life, even if you can't see it at the time, how that's gonna, sometimes the support's got to be pulled out so that you can get on and move on to some new things, because we might not move on if we're too comfortable. But I hope it all works out well for you. Let me know in the chat below, and we'll see you hopefully at the next lunation. All right, take care, y'all. I'm back. I forgot to mention one thing that I wanted to say. So the eclipses happen on the nodes of the moon. The nodes of the moon are points where the moon interacts with the ecliptic of the earth. So it's kind of an imaginary point, but it's a point where there seems to be energy that happens. In Ayurvedic astrology, they call it the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. And so the eclipses can be thought of as these dragon energies where the north node is what the dragon wants to go and eat up. It's where our desire is taking us, what we want to do. And the south node obviously is the other end of the dragon where things are eliminated, and it's the things that we need to let go of. So one thing that I like to do, because it's just kind of fun way to work with the astrology, is not only in Ayurvedic astrology, but also ancient astrology, Hellenistic astrology, is they would do appeasement. So if you take something that you think is going to be a difficult aspect and you kind of honor it and show it respect, then you hope that the effects will be more beneficial, or at least less difficult. And so I've been working with dragon energy this last few weeks in preparation to getting ready to have these eclipses, especially since I'm traveling during eclipses. So I've been working on a little embroidery of a dragon that I'm going to take with me on my trip to put on my little traveling altar. And this one idea of a way that you can honor the dragon. My particular dragon that I've met in meditation is a white and gold dragon. I don't know if you can see the gold in the embroidery there, but that's just a way of honoring the cycles that are coming up and hoping that you get insights that are practical and helpful. Being aware of things sometimes gives you a better perspective in dealing with things so they aren't necessarily difficult. Anyway, I just wanted to do that little addendum, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.